It's been 40 years since Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands, or the Malvinas, as they're known in Spanish.
Nearly 1,000 soldiers were killed in the war. More than 600 were Argentinian. Many in Argentina regret the conflict, but maintain the islands are theirs. 4 decades on, there's still a real sense of loss. As our South America correspondent, Katie Watson, reports.
This remote Patagonian town is often referred to as the end of the world, but Argentinians like to say it's also the beginning of everything. It was from Ushuaia that soldiers left on the cruiser General Belgrano. Shortly after, it was torpedoed by the British, killing more than 300 Argentinians. Ushuaia is known as Argentina's capital of the Malvinas. There are references to the islands everywhere. They lost the war, but Argentinians are still fighting to win back the islands once more. For the younger generation in this region, every anniversary is about marking history. But the issue is still very current. It's like we're there but we aren't, says student Magali. We know what it's like, but we've never been, because we can't. The Malvinas are part of the curriculum, and talk of modern-day colonialism is very much part of people's lives.
This is a story given to school children and endorsed by the Ministry of Education. It tells the story of Pepino the penguin, who lived happily on the Malvinas with his friends until one day the monster comes along in a pirate ship with British flags and chucks Pepino off the island. And then the story goes on trying to explain how Pepino rallies his friends, trying to get support to chuck the monster off. But you can see by the end of the book, the monster is still in his cave.
Yay! After the war, islanders were given British citizenship. Then, in 2013, there was a referendum in which more than 99% voted to remain a British territory. But the Argentinian government contests the results.
English media outlets always ask me in interviews whether I take into consideration that there are people who have lived there for a long time, but they are the grandchildren of the usurpers. That doesn't give them a right.
Veteran Daniel Guzman lost 12 friends in 1982, their names inscribed on these walls. It was a period that marks him to this day.
It's in our DNA that the Malvinas are Argentinian. It's like a football jersey.
But, he says, the fight to win back the islands has now become political, and the government has lost its way.
Argentina needs to talk less about the war and take more concrete action in the international stage on this remaining British colony. It's hard for islanders to want anything to do with Argentina. Nobody with any sense would want to be part of a country that has 50% inflation.
Ushuaia sits on the Beagle Channel, named after the ship used by naturalist Charles Darwin. British influence is all around here, or was. Where once there was thriving trade between the islands and Argentina, these waters are now much quieter. The Malvinas are cut off.
The history of the Malvinas, or the Falklands, is rich and varied. It questions how you define nation through people and land. And the debate also challenges who has power in the world and what effect colonialism had, and for many, still has.
Katie Watson, BBC News in Ushuaia.